Hi, so first of all, this video is not a tutorial, it's a documentation about my fish, as strange as that is. But this is my first time successfully breeding fish, and I just wanted to document it. I wanted to document it, and I wanted to see what's going well, what's going wrong. And another thing, if anybody watching this video knows or can tell me what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, that would be amazing. That would be really appreciated, so please. This is all just a learning experience for me. I've never been able to successfully breed fish until now. So, I mean, again, if anybody can tell me, what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, then help your boy out, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, back to the focal point of the video. I have a 30-litre aquarium with 4 guppies in it. I know it's too small, but I'm going to be upgrading them in the summer to a much bigger setup. With the size of the tank now, I haven't seen any type of issues with the fish. They seem to be happy, displaying normal behaviors. But again, it's still too small. I'm definitely going to be upgrading it, especially with the amount of babies that they're having too. So I received these fish on the 24th of January, 2024. And within a week and a half, they had already had babies. So there's 2 types of guppies in there. There's the Dumbo Platinum Redtail guppy pairs, and there's also the full black gene guppy. Again, I've seen no type of issue, no type of territorial issue, no fighting between the males, nothing like that. The one issue I have had with housing 2 different types of guppies in one aquarium is when you first notice the babies, it's hard to tell who gave birth to them. And to my knowledge, guppies exhibit sexual dimorphism. So some of the babies have the exact same coloration, whereas some of them have a slightly different color. And to me, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, are they the same guppy and one's female and one's male, or are these 2 different sets of babies? So I'm debating separating them one side, put them into a bigger setup. But at the same time, I don't know, because they've lived together for all this time now and they seem really happy. Originally, the full black gene female gave birth to 2 baby fish, and I separated one of them. I put it into one of my aquariums upstairs, only because I believed that she might eat both the babies, and I wanted to preserve one and leave one just to see her behavior, see how she would be around her own baby. It's really difficult to count the baby fish and take all the baby fish from my aquarium downstairs, only because the way how I've set it up, there's so many little tiny caves and little crevices that the baby fish can get into where you can't see them, and the only time you can find them is when they're at the very, very top of the aquarium. And even that is difficult because there's so many floating plants and they love to go directly under the biggest leaves. So I tend to have OCD when it comes to that aquarium downstairs, because every single day I go into it and I clean it. I take a pipette and I clean out all the dirt from the sand and I completely remove it from the aquarium. I do small water changes, maybe like 5 to 10% water changes. I'd say every week. Sometimes it's every other week. It kind of just varies on how dirty the aquarium looks. Some people will find this controversial, but every time I do a water change, I like to add bacteria back to the aquarium. I take the filter out and completely take it apart maybe every 2 weeks, and I give it a good clean down. I'm not gonna lie, the filter's shit. I'm gonna be getting a new one. I just don't like this filter in particular because it's just basically not good enough for the aquarium. All the dirt just sits in it and it just sits in the water. I'm gonna be getting a canister filter, so hopefully that's gonna make my aquarium 10 times cleaner. I have the aquarium positioned directly in natural sunlight because I want algae to grow. I don't want crazy amounts of algae to grow, but I just want a little bit of algae to grow just so that the fish can, graze on it between feeding. There is a little bit of algae in there, which is what I wanted. There's algae on the wood, I believe. There's also some algae on some of the moss. Again, I wanted it. I've seen the fish grazing on it. Yeah, the fish like it and I like it, so there's no issue with that. So there's also shrimp in that aquarium. There's a Batman snail, and there's also a handful of pygmy corridors in there. So I like to feed the fish twice a day. I usually feed them once at 11 AM and the second time at 6 PM. So I like to give them a varied diet. They have brine shrimp, tropical flakes, cuppy pods, I put in sinking pellets for the shrimp and other fish. Guppies love it. Algae wafers, again, guppies love it. And then of course occasionally I catch them grazing on the algae. Also, I recently noticed these small little white spots on it's everywhere. They're on the front of the glass mainly, but they're everywhere inside of the aquarium. I don't know if it's like bubbles, like where they mark the glass or something, or if they're eggs. If anyone knows, just let me know. So now to the aquarium that the babies are housed in, and I like to let it get just a little bit dirty, only because I think of it like, remember when you were young and you go roll around in the mud and you get dirty? You was just making your immune system stronger, and that's what I'm trying to replicate for the baby fish, but in a controlled and healthy way. Both aquariums are on a timer, and the light turns on at sunrise and off at sunset. I do have a slight bit of an algae issue in the baby tank, and I believe it's because 1, there's not a lot of plants in there, 2, there's a rock that's constantly releasing nutrients, and 3, I also have fertilizer that's constantly running into the aquarium. As you'll see in both aquariums, there's a ton of floating plants. I just really like the way that they aid the water quality, and also it gives the fish somewhere to hide, and the roots look really cool when they're fully grown in the water. I didn't put a lot of plants in the aquarium only because I knew that I was going to be putting babies in it, and they're already really hard to see. I didn't want to make it harder for myself. So I'm also doing an experiment where I'm trying to see how much a spider plant can aid the water quality of this aquarium. It's only been a week, so I can't really say it's working or it's not working. But I have noticed that the water is very, very, very clear. It was clear before, but it's now it's noticeably more clear. I can't stress this enough. This is not a how-to video. This is just a documentation. So again, if anyone has advice, let me know in the comments. I don't really know if I'll be posting any more videos. This was kind of just a spur in the moment kind of thing. In the summertime, I'm going to be building a reptile/fish room, so maybe I'll make some videos on that. But for now, that's everything. So thank you for watching.